How you doing? How's everyone keeping? It's very nice weather here on this Monday evening. A bit chilly, bit rainy, but yeah, it's good weather. Um, all right, I'm going to kick into this. I'm just going to change my boots actually. The first one is from Mark, and he says, "I'm not eating the whole plant diet, but would like to incorporate a portion of it into my meals. Is there a recipe book that Kevin could recommend? I've also read a little bit about different supplements, fish oil, vitamin E, vitamin D, vitamin C, and B to help rebuild deficiencies. Could you please comment on supplements?" The only supplement that I use, Mark, is B12, and that was from when I was a vegan, so I still keep taking that. I think if you have a well-rounded diet, when I'm talking about a whole food plant-based diet, it's put the emphasis on the based part of it, that is plant-based, so that the majority of your food is coming from whole foods. And a good book, I think, to start out from is from a guy called Michael Pollan. And he's wrote several books. One's called In Defense of Food, and the other one is Food Rules. He sort of says some quotes from him, which I think are really relevant. His name is Pollan, so it's Michael Michael Pollan. And he says, don't eat anything your great grandmother wouldn't recognize as food, which most of the stuff that's on your supermarket shelves would not fall into that category. He says, one of his quotes that I really like is, eat food, not too much. No, what was it? No, sorry. I'll try and find it so I don't butcher it. So eat food, not too much, mostly plants. It's a really simple quote, a really simple idea and a way of thinking about things. So you're not eating so much food that you're getting stuffed all the time. You're eating food, which means that you're eating whole foods, things that you recognize as a food, and it's mostly plants. And I think that's a good way of looking at things. As a recipe book, I don't have recipe books. I really go onto the internet and look for things. I tend to make the same food over and over again. Esther's the same. So we have, when we're in the morning, we have a porridge, oats with fruit and a bit of honey, or I have a bit of honey. Esther has some chocolate powder in the porridge, and we do that every morning. We've been doing that for so long. I mean, every so often you have a different meal, but and it's the same thing for us, with our main meals. We tend to go through the same things over and over again. But your best bet is to go online, have a look on YouTube. There is some fantastic recipes out there. So, like I say, with the supplements, they always say to, like I say, I was taking a B12 supplement because from what I was reading, it was one of the only things that you couldn't get on a vegan diet. But I think that is missing from a lot of normal diets as well, because B12 normally comes from the ground, and even if you're eating meat or fish, most of this stuff is so processed by the time it gets to you. And so the cattle and sheep they've got so many chemicals in there that they that all of this stuff, a lot of the vitamins that are in there in the first place are gone. So it's recommended that a lot of people eat this kind of stuff. I think if you're eating multivitamins as an insurance policy, I don't think it can do you any harm. And especially with with things like fish oil, or I don't think it can do you any harm. But if you can, try and get as much of your vitamins and minerals as you can from the food that you're eating, and research that for yourself. So this one is one from Eric. He said, I'm starting to wonder something. One thing I've read in the past several months from people on the forum who've had some success is that you have to be ready. You have to be at that point where you want to do this for yourself. You have to be the one to choose. This has me worried, and it has since I first started. The first question I asked on the Q&A concerning this topic: is it possible to be successful if your motivation is external? Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you have to take it back down to that initial decision of stopping drinking alcohol. And that is the easiest decision that you will ever make, because it's a simple decision. Do I put this stuff into my body or not? That's it. Yes or no. And everything else then is dealing with that, the choice that you make, whether you continue to drink alcohol. That's what you have to do, is to deal with that choice. If you decide that you're going to stop drinking alcohol, you have to deal with that choice. And most of the hard work that you're going to go through in the transition phase, especially the early months of transition, is breaking apart the habit and reducing your thoughts, changing the way you think, pushing your thoughts in a different direction, reevaluating different things about your life from the perspective of, well, I used to relax when I was doing this, and now I can't relax anymore because I don't drink anymore. It's a state of mind. This is not a reality that is real outside of your brain. This is something that you've conjured up for yourself. So you have to find some other way of doing that, of relaxing, and you'll find it. It just takes time. And that you can take that same logic and apply it to anything that you associate alcohol with: socializing, commiserating, anything, any part of alcohol, anything that you can say, well, I used to drink alcohol for X. It's a reality inside your head, and you alone are the only one that can change that reality. But that initial decision, so if you wait until you are ready, you're never going to be ready, because your brain is always going to come up with an excuse to not be ready. Because, as I say, again, same thing, readiness is a state of mind. It's a state of your mind, nobody else's. That's why I keep saying to people, you've got to think about this from an individual perspective, your perspective, because it doesn't help if you bring anyone else into it and you think from somebody else's perspective, or you try and put their ideas into your way of thinking, because there is no collective brain, there's no collective liver, there's no collective anything. It's your brain that's going to be damaged by this. It's your life that's going to be damaged, yours and yours alone. I mean, there's an offshoot to that where other people suffer because of your behaviors or your actions, or what you do or say or think or whatever. But at the end of the day, the primary sufferer is you. So that is the initial simple thing that you have to do, is to stop the flow of alcohol. We talked about this on one of the videos the other day. I think I put it up into the library. If you're interested in doing it on the new website, I'll talk about that in a minute. But it's about if you, let's say, if you went off for a week on your vacation, and you came back and you realized that you'd left the plug in your sink and you'd left the tap on, and your whole house was flooded. Nobody got in there to turn anything off, and the whole place is flooded. The first thing that you have to do before you can deal with anything is to turn off the flow of water, to stop the water from any more water from spilling out into your house, right? Then you take the plug out of the sink and you empty out what's in there, and then you've got to clean up and maybe replace a lot of the stuff that has been damaged in your house. So that's the first thing that you've got to do, and only when you've done that can you move on and start to start to build, start to transform. That's why you need to go through that transition period first. And it's a difficult time, because there is that disentangling yourself from your past, which is nothing to do with the alcohol. When we're talking about breaking the habit down, this has nothing whatsoever to do with the alcohol. It's all to do with your habit, your thinking, the way that you have developed as an alcohol drinker, right? But it's got nothing to do with the alcohol anymore, because just like the if you flood your house, it's got nothing to do with the water anymore. You're dealing with the damage. So it's the same thing here. So there's that stage where you're trying to pull yourself away from your old behavior, your old habits, your old thinking. And there's going to be times in there where you're thinking, what am I doing? It's easy for me to go back to that old life. All I have to do is go down to the shop, buy wine or beer or whatever it is that you're drinking, take it home, open it up and drink it, and then you're back to where you were before. But that's the problem. You're back to where you were before, and you're taking another path now forwards. So you're going to get that time of disenchantment, is a good way of putting it. And you're also going to get a time of confusion where you're just thinking, well, where am I? I know where I've come from, sort of, but I don't know where I'm going. I can't really figure out where I'm going. I don't know what I'm gonna, I don't know how to relax. I don't know how to socialize. I don't know how to do any of those things. But it's a step-by-step process. You can't build these things for yourself overnight, because it comes from deep within you. It comes from, in your brain. It comes from in your mind. These habits they're not something that you can just pull out. They're something that you have to slowly disentangle. It's like the habit has got a lot of hooks inside of you all, so Eric said that I've mentioned I've been having dreams about sneaking drinking. We all get those dreams. Don't worry about that. Even now, almost 10 years later, I get the odd dream where I'm sitting down having a pint of Guinness. I don't care. I'm quite happy if I have a pint of Guinness in my dreams, because it doesn't do anything to my body. It doesn't do any damage. And I wake up and I think, thank God for that. Sometimes I used to get really, really annoyed with the dreams. I think, but no, it's just a dream. So is it possible to? Oh, no, yeah. So it is possible to have an external. The thing about motivation is that you have to look at it from the perspective of what motivates you to start off is good enough, right? Usually it's pain, something painful that starts people off, and the pain will keep going on and on and on and on, right? So I wouldn't worry about it. If you keep drinking, the pain will go on and on and on if you keep drinking. The pain when you stop, that will only last so long. And then once you don't drink for a while, that pain is going to recede. So that motivation disappears. So then you've got to find another motivation. But if you're heading in the right direction, you're doing the right work with yourself, then you will find other motivations as you're going forward. So motivation is something that is not static. It's something that will evolve as you move forward with everything else in your life. So don't worry about that. The dreams, don't worry about that. I quit at the point of the gun. I was left to my own devices. I quit for my family and I quit for others. Like I say, whatever gets you to quit in the beginning is good enough. I'm a little depressed with everything. It's like I was saying, you're going to have times when you're disenchanted, when you're just thinking to yourself, what the hell am I doing? We're in the heart of winter, COVID, working all the time. I hear a lot of people, whenever I'm watching YouTube channel, anything on YouTube, you hear a lot of people talking about these terrible times, these whatever X times that we're living in. And you have to really just say to yourself, right, these times, this is the time that I'm living. This is what is happening. There is nothing I can do to control that. I can control what I'm doing myself and move on with that, as you say yourself, the terrible winter, it was one of the biggest reasons I moved out of Ireland was because of the winters. I couldn't take it anymore. You know, I couldn't take a lot of stuff about Ireland, and it was one of the biggest sacrifices that I made to leave my son behind. But it was something that I thought I had to do for my own sanity. So even there, you have a choice whether you're going to stay or whether you're not, and it's it could be one of the most difficult choices that you have. You know, so. Another thing that got me thinking is my wife. She's a very strong woman, but her whole life she has struggled with weight. She's overcome poverty, cigarettes, a dysfunctional family, and other things, but she hasn't yet beaten food. This isolation has made things worse. She said something the other day when I mentioned all that she's overcome and that she can do this too. I was something along the lines that this issue was different and she didn't know if she was up for the challenge. Maybe she just has to accept it. It was she. It was who she was. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, it does, you know, because, you know, at the end of the day, we say this a lot here. It's very difficult for you to help somebody else when you're in the middle of chaos yourself, and sometimes the transition period can seem to be just horrible chaos, you know, mental chaos because of that, because like I say, you don't know which way to go. You're being pulled in different directions. You've still got this thing behind you trying to fucking pull you back, but at the same time you're trying to pull yourself away and move yourself forward. That's difficult. And then you've got the other problems of other people who are around you as well. You know, I mean, these things don't really happen in isolation. You know, we tend to have, you know, it's life, isn't it? But I think the best way of dealing with those things is to try and be as empathetic with the people around you as you possibly can, but at the same time, concentrating and focusing your own mind on your own mental well-being and getting yourself up to that stage, because the stronger you are, the more lessons you learn for yourself, the stronger you are for anybody else in your life, and that's a great place to be for yourself and for other people, because you pull people up. Then, like I say, you know, it is that birds of a feather flock together sort of a thing. You know, you influence other people around you positively and negatively. So if you're in that negative lifestyle, if you're in that negative spin in your life, then you influence other people just as badly, you know, as or just as much as you would if you were as you are doing now in a positive way. And part of the process, you know, the first couple of things before anyone changes, I can't remember the guy's name now, Prochaska, I think his name was, slipping my mind anyway. But the first two stages are pre-contemplation and contemplation. And contemplation is where you're thinking about it. Pre-contemplation is when you haven't got a clue that there's something wrong with you. You're just denying everything. You know, I don't have a problem with alcohol. And how long did all of us have that for? You know, people who are overweight, you know, there's a lot of time before they realize that they're overweight and that they have to do something. And then there's contemplation, where you start thinking about it. And it's only when you start thinking about it yourself and you're going through that journey inside your own mind. You know, you're going through the ups and downs, and it takes a lot sometimes to build that pain. You know, the pain is inside. The pain is not real physical pain. I mean, sometimes it is, but it's mental pain, and that mental pain has to build up to a crescendo. It has to build up to a point where you're willing to take action. And you know, sometimes people take action and the pain starts to diminish, and it diminishes enough so that they go back to the normal self again. And it's like that same, they go through this cycle a few times before they eventually make it stick. But the next time they go, the pain is a bit higher, and then a bit higher, and then a bit higher, that kind of thing. So, but it's when you hear somebody talking about their problems and you hear, even if they're questioning whether they can do it or whether that's just them, that it's a sign that people are on the right path. If you get what I mean. So hey Jeremy, how you doing? Thomas, 3 a.m. That's early. Yeah, the video is going to be there anyway, Thomas. So don't worry about it. It'll always be put there. So this one is from Jeremy. From Jeremy. He says, just a quick compliment. I enjoyed the long walk and talk videos of the past, but I'm also really liking the more recent shorter videos that just nail one or two ideas. Yeah, cool. There's a few people that don't like it. We're going to put them into the I don't know if you're on the new site, Jeremy, but a lot of those shorter videos will be going into the library as well, because I think they just have a good some good lessons in there for everyone, I suppose. If I want longer Kevin therapy, I always go back and watch the longer material, and often do. Appreciate it. June says, I find it very difficult to plan for the future and long-term goals and dreams. I've really no specific idea of where I want to be in a year or in 5 years' time, other than not drinking. Maybe I just need to set in place some specific goals. I swim and have once in my life swum a mile. Wow. Several years ago. So maybe a goal to be able to swim a mile on a regular basis. Also another question, but Kevin mentioned possibly a Zoom chat. Yeah. So the goals, I think the best idea in the early stages of this journey, especially during the early few weeks and months, let's face it, in the first 3 months of transition, is just to allow the idea of future goals and long-term dreams and wishes of where you want to be just to percolate, and take long walks, go for swims, and just allow your brain your subconscious to work its magic. So I think that's where a lot of the stuff happens. You don't have to find, it can be as simple as that. This is what I want to do. This is one of the things I want to do, is go and swim the mile. I think that's a worthwhile goal for anyone. So just think about it from that perspective. What suits you at that time. Don't put yourself under any pressure. The idea is to relax. I went for a nice massage earlier on with my massage therapist, and she was saying that one of the problems that she sees is just that imbalance in life in general, that you have to have balance in all things. I find that even in silly things like reading, I find I have to balance the things that I read for fun and pleasure and things that I read for my business or for learning. Sometimes I walk and I do the videos, Jeremy says, and other times I just want to walk and just not think. And I tend to go to different places. So I go to a city when I want to just let my mind drift, because I can't think in those situations. My mind is just all over the place, watching different things, and it's sort of like people watching on the move. And if I want to think, I go off into the mountains and I walk on my own, and I can focus and concentrate then on what I want to do. So it's a balance. I think it should be a balance as well. We were talking about the food earlier on. It should be a balance. I think 90% of your food should be based around whole foods, plant-based, good food that is feeding your body and giving you the nutrients and the energy that you need to move yourself forwards. But there's also a place in everyone's life for food that you just completely enjoy. But again, we live in such a great time where you can get absolutely fantastic tasting food, which is also not too bad for you. You can make good choices with your food. One of the things I found when I stopped drinking alcohol was the amount of money that we were saving. We could put into buying decent food, making sure that you bought good ingredients. So if you wanted to go out and myself and Esther are both have sweet tooth, and we both like our cake, but we tend to try as much as possible to eat cake from places that we know the ingredients are super good. So even though it is naughty food and you don't want to be eating that stuff all the time, every so often it's good to indulge in something. So that's what I think about that. But yeah, don't worry about goals and long-term stuff. That will come to you as you're moving forward. I can't tell you how many times my goals have changed, my plans have changed, and what I want at the end of the day. That's why I just came to the conclusion that I wanted to live the best possible life that I can live, because be the best possible version of myself. And there's many possible versions of myself that I could live, and who knows if I'm ever going to get to that stage. But it doesn't matter, because the journey is the thing. The end result and the goal that you're trying to achieve doesn't really matter. It's striving for happiness in the day and moving forward and enjoying your life and having fun and smiling and all those good things in life. The things, think back to when you were a kid. That's what you want to be. That's the kind of feeling that you want, in an adult's body. So you've got your responsibilities, you've got the things that you need to do in life, but it doesn't have to be horrible. If you're living in a place that you don't like, move. If you've got a job that you don't like, work on getting something else. And it might not be the time for you to do it, but it's certainly the time for you to start. It's time for you to start thinking about it and putting in motion things. So it's a good place to start. Is what don't you like about your life, and where would you like to see that? I don't know if you've gone through the 12 categories that we had in the preparation stage. I think the videos, have a look in that. There's a few videos on those. I might do a small series of videos and put them in the library about that, because I think it's important just to have that in the back of your mind when you're thinking about your social life, your family, your work, your career, your finances, hobbies, spirituality. All of these things create that balanced life. And if you think about it, you're never going to get, if you push yourself too much in one direction in any one of these areas, then you're going to create a life which is out of balance. And you're much better off trying to be the best possible version of yourself overall, rather than trying to be the best possible version of yourself in any one of these areas. I think I would favor things like trying to be the best dad that I could be, because that would give me much more. Somebody's at the door. Somebody's at the door. Okay. Listen, I think that's a book coming. Thomas says, thinking I should go back to day one. Why are you thinking that, mate? Anyway, I hope that makes sense. And the Zoom chats, yeah, we're trying to do it, but it's only going to work, I think. I have to figure it out and see if we can get it working. We've just hired a couple of people to help me with the editing and just doing a lot of the background stuff that we've been doing. So I've been busy with that over the last month or so, since Christmas. So I'm going to look into that next and try and get some Zoom chats on. I would really like to get some experts in different areas to come and talk as well. That would be really interesting. So yeah, we're looking into that. So yeah, I'll let you know as soon as I can about that. Next one is from Tom. He said, I've been lax in my listening. Tom, this is the same Tom. No? Been lax in my listening to the daily video podcast, of which I'm subscribed, and I've been overconfident. Confident. I made it to day 89 yesterday, and I was just about to answer you earlier on, actually. Or did I answer? I think I did. Sorry, I'm confused, mate. I'm confused today, so I don't know whether I posted that or I was going to do it. Anyway, I made it to day 89 yesterday, and I decided while I was out to dinner with the in-laws and spouse that I would break ranks and have a beer. And I had 6 more. So you were saying anyway about whether or not you should go back to day 1. And I think that the email that I sent you was, or I didn't send you, I think I sent it to you, was there's 2 ways of looking at this. The first is that you need to think about things from the perspective of when you get to 1 year. And this is why it's important to count your days properly in your own head, because if you get to 1 year and you haven't got the days behind you, you feel like you are you're cheating yourself. And it's a sort of a weird thing, because I think it's that first year is such a great milestone. It's such a great feeling when you pass that full year, and you know, it's just, I think it's you really will, it gives you a feeling of confidence that you bring into the next year, and it's much better than getting to year 2 or year 5, or I mean, that first year was the best buzz for me, just getting past that stage. And I think if I cheated during the year on myself, it wouldn't have meant the same. So from that perspective, it's important that you count from day 1 from that perspective. From the other perspective, and this is the most important perspective, the other one is just getting to year 1. It's like it doesn't really matter, you know. The idea is that you have gone 88 days without any alcohol inside your system, right? You've gone 88 days when you've been thinking about alternatives to the triggers that have been firing off for all those 88 days, right? You've gone through 88 days of balancing your sleep, of your body ridding itself of the toxins. You've gone through 88 days of experience. That's what I'm saying to you. And you haven't killed that in one night, especially when you say that you understand now that there was absolutely no benefit. Sometimes you have to go through something like that, like I say, you get to a stage where you are, a lot of people, it's not a self-sabotage thing, but it's almost like, I believe that I can control it now. And it's a thought that doesn't just pop up in one instance. It's a recurring thing that might be there underneath it all, that you've been pushing down or whatever, So, but the fact that you've said it yourself and you understand that now, it's this is a good time to make a video of yourself as well, And anytime you talk to your future self and you say to yourself, look, I did 89 days and I fucked up and I had a drink, and this is what I think the next day, and so I'm never going to do that again, because if I do, this is the result. After all that work that I put in, when you get a thought again about that kind of thing, then you take out this video and you look at yourself, and there's nothing. You could write this down on a piece of paper, but there's nothing so emotive as seeing yourself, looking back at yourself and saying these words. I'm meaning it, and you don't get that, you don't wait for a week or whatever. Do it now, while it's fresh in your mind, where the pain of what you've done is fresh in your mind, and then move on, because you've still done those 88 days. So from that perspective, you've had a slip, and the example I always use is, if you're learning anything in life, let's say you're learning how to ride a horse, and you're getting really good at this, riding the horse, and all of a sudden, after so many months of training on this horse, you fall off the horse. Well, you don't go back to the beginning learning how to get on the horse again. You carry on exactly where you left off. You get back onto the horse and you keep going. And it's like that with anything that you learn in life. So why is it any different with this? And it's because we're focused on the days instead of what really matters, which is the journey. So the idea is to never have any alcohol again. And if you have a slip, let's say, for instance, right, I had, which happened to me, by the way, this was, I can't remember whether it was a year or 5 years or whatever into my journey. And I was having an alcohol-free beer in a glass, and somebody else next to me was having a beer with alcohol in it, in a glass, the same glass. And I picked up their glass and had a sip of it, and I swallowed it. And it was, as soon as I had it in my mouth, I realized what I'd done. But what would you do then? You're going to beat yourself up and say, that's it for me. I have to start back at day one again. It just doesn't make any sense at all. So don't beat yourself up about it. Don't, move on with things. So I think Esther wanted to say something as well. I mean, she's been dealing with the monsters, and I think she's got my book. Enjoy the daily post. Glad to listen to the walks. Cool. What's the Martians at the front door?
I don't think there's another two who want to say something.
Hello. Murphy and.
And to show you as well, it was a book for you, right?
I know, that's what I said. It was a book. I knew it was a book. Here, do you want to put it over?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well done. Tea. Hi guys. This is my working, jogging,
Dirty doggy pants.
dirty doggy pants. Oh yeah.
It's Murphy.
Hey, the boys.
So yeah, we were talking about the Zoom calls and stuff.
Yeah.
The importance of living. This is by a Chinese sort of a philosopher. Really looking forward to reading this one. Classic bestseller that introduced millions to the noble art of leaving things undone.
Yeah. Oh, I thought he was going to smack me there for a minute.
Oh no.
If the camera was not on, he
No.
would have had the chance. Just for fun, because otherwise I would hit him back.
We were going to say that we're moving across to the new site, so we're trying to transition everyone across. So anyone who's on the old site, just talk to Esther about it with.
Yeah, no, there was actually who was it? I don't know, who was it now? Oh, Stuart, I think it was Stuart on the old site, asked as well, because now obviously there's a few people, especially in the lifetime members, who we moved over to the new site.
Hey, but how's your fella?
Yeah. But he asked as well, because then there's some people who are, talking about the new site on the old site.
Yeah.
But to let everyone know, it is the same program that we're just moving over to a new platform to make it easier for everyone.
Yeah, but we're not putting that. That's the problem, is that we're not putting. There's no point in putting new videos onto the old website. So
no. No, exactly. But from now on, as soon as everything is over there, we'll start growing on the new site.
Yeah.
So that is for people who are happy on the old site and just with those videos and want to stay there. No problem. Good for you. It will be there. The content will be there.
Yeah.
The forum will be closing after a while. I don't know exactly. I think the summer. I think it's.
Anyone who's on the old site will still get the forum. So as long as there's people on using the forum, but there's going to be less and less people. So that's the problem. So people will be. The more people that move over to the new site, the forum is integrated into the site, so there's not that double login that people have to do. So so that is, and just drop me a line, because we, as I said, the lifetimers are there, the monthly members, no problem. We'll but we've got no way of doing it automatically, so we have to do it sort of on an individual. So it's when you know your monthly is coming to an end, then you can click the link to start on the new one. You'll still get a 7-day trial with the $1 thing, and it's the same price. And if you are if you've got an earlier price or something like that we've done, for people that started, because we've still got people that are around, that have been around for 3 or 4 years now. So they'd be grandfathered into that really old price that we had. So then give us a shout and we'll put the discount in. But we have to do it like that. And then if you're on the annual as well and you want to take another annual with the new site, then let us know and we can figure out what your how many months you've got left and give you a discount on that on the annual as well.
Yeah.
And if you want to take the lifetime, if anyone wants to take the lifetime, we've got a few good prices for you. So I mean, that's
and even on you don't have to pay everything at once. You
No.
can do.
And Esther will be talking about this in the forum.
Yeah, just send me an email. I'll send I'll put an extra thing in the form to get it for everyone. But just in case, I mean, if anyone has questions about that, just send me an email.
Yeah.
And I'll move you over or answer your questions anyway, and we get you sorted. Huh?
Yeah, great to be with you on this new website. Looks great. Yeah, it's a lot easier to navigate.
Yeah, it will for everyone. I mean, and as well, that is for the few new people who are here, because there's a quick starting guide for the new forum. I made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we still have some problems with putting the links in on that forum community. It is there, and I will share it even more.
Yeah.
But there's still some little hiccups. What I'm with the company, I'm still emailing with, and we'll get it sorted. Yeah. But you can change anything. You can change your name, your whatever, everything yourself, your email, your notifications.
Yeah.
Just go over into the right-hand corner. You see your profile photo, anyway, your name, because your photo will not be on it yet. But there you see settings, and on that page you can organize everything yourself. But if you have any questions, again, email me and I'll help you out.
So that's about it for today then.
So
we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, Jeremy, good for you. 3 o'clock.
Yeah. Are you going to go back to bed now? Yeah. All right, lads. We'll speak to you. We'll speak to you soon. Thanks for turning up and tuning in.
Great chatting.
Yeah.
I'll be I'll be in the forums now for another few minutes, and then finishing my tea with the doggies in the living room.
Okay. See you later, guys.
See you later.
Take care. Onwards and upwards. Bye.